In this video, you're gonna learn the top 5 badminton mistakes that all beginner badminton players make that's ruining your badminton game. The first mistake we're gonna talk about is footwork mistakes. Now, since I haven't been a beginner in a long time, I kind of forgot what mistakes beginners make. So Paul is gonna tell us some mistakes and I'm gonna tell you how to fix it. So you'll see in that example, which is a little bit exaggerated, is that a lot of times beginners don't run the proper sequence of footwork. So what they are doing is they're running to the side, they're running to the front, or maybe they're running a little bit of footwork, and then they lunge with the wrong leg. Let me go over how to do this footwork properly and how to do it efficiently. You know your footwork needs to always start in this ready position stance, feet side by side. Your dominant hand is also your dominant leg forward. Now in this corner, what we always want to do is a little hop before we move. And the easiest way to walk the footwork is do a 1, 2, and 3 to the front. Same for on the left side. We're gonna do a 1, 2, and 3. The back side is a little bit different. First, let's say if we're going to this side, we're going to turn our body perpendicular to this angle, do 2 shuffles, 1, 2, and as we hit, we're gonna switch feet and walk back to the center. Same for this side. That's how beginners should learn the basics of footwork when they're moving more slow. Next, let's talk about the proper grip and the grip mistakes that you guys are making. And first, we're gonna demo it with Paul.
Many months later.
So you see the problems that Paul was making there in the demo. There were 2 main problems, and I'm sure for you it might not be that exaggerated, but I think you're making that as well. One is your grip. What he was doing a panhandle grip. And what does that mean? That means you turn the grip to the side, and this whole flat side is against your palm, and your thumb is against the narrow side of this grip. The second mistake that he's making is he is gripping the racket way too tight. You'll see that by doing that, he's doing like a motion like this. It's kind of like he's playing badminton, but he's hammer gripping this racket. Let me show you what good grip looks like. First of all, grip overall, the most basic is we need to come into our neutral grip, which is with our racket straight like this. We're gonna go into a handshake, okay? So you're gonna see a V on this narrow part of the grip. Now this is our neutral grip. From here, what we wanna do is make sure we don't over tighten our grip and we keep it quite relaxed. Second, let's talk about how to generate power with grip. Now, we know the swing, but a lot of people have a good swing, but they hold their grip too tight. So this most important part of power generation, they are not releasing. Because you have to imagine energy comes through your body, it comes up. If your grip is too tight, it doesn't travel through your racket. First, we're gonna hold our grip like this. When we're hitting the shot, we're going to release backwards, almost holding it with only 2 fingers. And as we're doing this, we're also pronating our wrists 180 degrees. So by the time we pronate our wrist to the front, you'll see that the racket is still faced downwards. This is when we need to start gripping our racket and wrapping our fingers around so it turns and faces forwards, okay? So imagine it like a whoa, like a whoa. The third mistake that you're making is not practicing your serves. Now serves might be the most boring part, but it's the most important part, especially if you want to move up, because if your serves are not good, you are putting yourself at danger right off the very first point, and that's going to waste you a lot of energy and a lot of points. So
why are we still here? Just to suffer?
Okay, so those are the high serves, and I would say are the most important serve to master first. So before we talk about the short serves, let's just do only the high serves. There's a few things that are important. One thing Paul did do okay was hit into this square. The second thing that he did okay was he served it high. Always serve it as high as possible. Why is that important? Because when the shuttle comes, it's important that the shuttle drops straight down so that I cannot, or your opponent cannot, hit the shuttle like this. Because if you serve too flat, and your opponent hits the shuttle like this, that is a super fast smash. Now, what's one thing that we could have seen better there on that serve? You need to make sure the swing uses as many big muscles as possible. Because small muscles, it's easy to fidget like this, but big muscles, it's easier to always move in the same way. So earlier, Paul, when he was serving, he was doing like a boom, like a flick like that. You see, if you accidentally flick wrong way, it'll fly all over the place. But if we're using bigger muscles and following all the way through, even if we have a small variation on the bigger muscle, it's pretty much still in the same direction. So big swing, lead all the way through, and then at the end, when you have your position in place, then you can use your fingers, your wrists, and everything you need to hit it forward. The fourth mistake that you guys are making is too many trick shots. All right, Paul, let's see what too many trick shots looks like. What the hell? We can't do trick shots all the time. Why? Because what you think is a trick shot is not the real trick shots, okay? The real ankle breaking trick shots are not the ones that go like this, the ones that go like this, like this. The real ankle breaking trick shots are the ones small, like this, like this, like this. What you want to learn first is more standard and smaller trick shots. So things coming up, let's say for the Peter Gate, you can come up and drop your wrist, boom, like that. On the backhand side, you can do a cross into a straight, okay? On the forehand side, maybe you can do a cross-court left into a boom, like that. So a lot of these smaller trick shots. Now, the most important thing about starting and learning how to play a trick shot is you need to have a hold. So what does a hold mean? Coming up, let's say with your racket, I come up with my racket like this, and I hold before I hit. Why is this hold important? Because for trick shots, the most important thing is that you make your opponent change. Professional players, when they jump, it feels like they're frozen in the air. That's how you get those beautiful photos, and then they hit. And that's where the trick shots are coming from. Mistake number 5 is not reviewing your footage and not seeking professional advice. Now, I say this all the time. I record myself doing everything I do, but I haven't actually trained badminton in a super long time, so I haven't actually recorded myself doing this. So I think what would be a better example is Paul right now, you are still improving and recording your footage, and you can see the difference. When I tell you to record versus when you don't record, I see that you don't know your problems. But when you're watching the videos, you can see your problems. So now that you know these 5 mistakes, I better not see you make them anymore. And next time I visit your club and I see you making them, I'm gonna slap your ass, okay? No warning, just straight up.